Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day, my oh my, it is Friday and not just any other Friday. Getting ready to wrap up the month of August. Welcome September over the weekend. Labor Day weekend is almost here. No show here on Monday. You know Labor Day, there'll be no government offices closed, no school, no mail, banks will be closed. Link won't be running buses. It's just a nice little 3-day weekend. We're not there yet, but we're almost there, and it's going to be hot. Sunny and hot, if that's the way you like it. And who's kidding who? This has been a pretty warm summer. The hits just keep right on coming. In fact, a heat advisory begins tomorrow morning and lasts through Sunday night, and they may even extend it into Labor Day proper. The hottest day of the weekend is going to be Sunday, close to 100. Going to be very, very warm. All those forecast details are coming up. And it's a beautiful morning, and yesterday was just about perfect. Sunshine, 82 degrees. Can't ask for anything better than that. We're going to be warmer than that today and warmer than that tomorrow, and hot. That's the forecast in a word. News, yep, we'll check that box for you. In sports, good start to the football season for Eastern Washington on the red carpet. They had no real problems last night. Huskies get going tomorrow. Cougars get going tomorrow. We'll talk a little high school football as well. We had a chance to sit down and visit with the two new head coaches in our area of the big schools. Wenatchee High School has a new football coach after over 2 decades of Scott Devereaux at the helm. Michael Don, of course, no longer the head coach of the Eastmont Wildcats. He has moved on to bigger and better things. Eastmont has a new coach as well. We'll talk about that when we get to sports. And my good buddy, Matt Wisen, is going to pay us a visit. Matt is a biologist with the local Wenatchee office of the Washington State Department of Transportation. He's been working with all kinds of governmental agencies and private conservatories to help the local wildlife get to where they need to go, because they move around to eat, to mate, and to whatever. And sometimes wildlife and cars get together, and it's not good for either one of them. And we're going to show you a fascinating video called Wild Ways, Keeping Washington's Habitat Connected. It's a good film, and Matt's going to talk about that. That's in the back half of the program. Here we go. Our tour begins with the Wenatchee Heights camera. Again, it is 57 degrees. It was 52 at this time yesterday. We hit 82 yesterday. Today will be into the lower 90s. Mid-90s Saturday, close to 100 on Sunday. Sunrise this morning 6:18, sunset tonight 7:43, 13 hours and 26 minutes of daylight. Good morning to the valley. Let's pop on up about 40 some odd miles to Lake Wenatchee. Yesterday at this time, of course, they had that weather phenomenon where they had fog just over the water level at Lake Wenatchee because of the huge temperature variation between the water and the air. That's not the case today. Just a beautiful day up at Lake Wenatchee. And I think the salmon season ends tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it ends tomorrow. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's when they wrap it up. So anyway, good morning to Lake Wenatchee. That place will be busy this weekend. Omi Garden, beautiful view from our Omi Garden camera, looking out over Rocky Reach Dam, the Baker Flats industrial area on the right side. They do Friday night movies, by the way, at Omi Gardens. They didn't do it last Friday night because it rained to beat the band, but they'll be doing it tonight. Kind of a cool place to watch a movie, and the weather's going to be perfect on Omi Gardens. That camera's actually not in the gardens. It's in a adjacent road that just goes to the north of Omi, but it's a beautiful view there. And up to Lake Chelan, which, yes, will be very busy this weekend, as you might imagine, from our Bear Mountain camera for a good swath of summer. All of June and a good chunk of July and into August, there was a lot of smoke when we looked farther up the lake from the Pioneer Fire. Those rains really did a number on that fire last weekend, thank goodness. Good morning to Lake Chelan. The folks will be coming to pay you a visit this weekend. But it is going to be hot. High pressure ridge is building over our region. It's going to be here for the rest of the week, into the weekend, and spilling into next weekend, as a matter of fact. So everybody's going to be warm. So if you're going to be out and about, especially in the late afternoon hours at the hottest part of the day, you got to take your necessary precautions. So there you go. Take a look. So moderate heat risk is expected, but again, a heat advisory begins at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning and will go all the way through until 9 o'clock Sunday night, because it's going to be very, very warm, including the overnight lows. A lot of our overnight lows are going to be in the 70s this weekend. That is pretty warm. And this is updated from what we showed you a couple of days ago. This is your 6 to 10 day outlook for September 4th through the 8th. And as you can see, they have very high confidence that we're going to have above normal temperatures. And as far as precipitation, drier than normal. So this is an update from the Climate Prediction Center. These are the experts who handle the long-term weather forecasts. As you can see, almost all of the western United States has a very good chance of being either above normal or well above normal right through next week as well. We're in for a long stretch of sunny and hot weather. From the National Weather Service, how does 92 sound today? Well, whether you like it or not, that's about what we're going to get to, as this ridge is going to amplify and park itself pretty much right over the state of Washington. So it's going to be sunny and warm everywhere. Even if you go up into the higher elevations where the air is cooler and thinner, it's still going to be warm. 61 for the overnight low tonight. 96 we go on Saturday to near 100 on Sunday. Now, Labor Day proper, we're going to be a little bit cooler, but not that much cooler. And then we'll cool down a little bit on Tuesday and Wednesday. Then we bunch right back up into Thursday. So even though the meteorological summer actually ends on Saturday at midnight, summer itself doesn't end, of course, until we get to the autumnal equinox. And it looks like we're going to be in for a pretty hot stretch of weather. All right, going to take a break. When we come back, we'll do the news on this Friday. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa, located on South Wenatchee Ave, has the largest selection of spas and swim spas in town. Stay cool this summer in an artesian swim spa and use it all year long. We enjoy helping families reconnect one spa at a time. Hot tubs are proven to improve sleep and decrease arthritis pain. Our passion is water, so please bring us a water sample, and we will help you diagnose your pool or spa water for free. Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa, your pool and spa experts.
Public notice! Never before RV public auction. 5 days only, August 22nd to the 26th. Come down and place your bid with no bid refused. There's hundreds of new and used RVs to be auctioned, like Flagstaff, Starcraft, Forest River, Chaco, and Salem. Amazing financing, 0 down, and no payments until 2025. There's food and refreshments, and you could be an instant winner of a 2024 trailer or $30,000 in cash. So don't miss the one-time only bid and buy auction sale. 5 days only, August 22nd through the 26th.
The family at the Epladolin want to help your loved one feel at ease in their new home environment. Epladolin offers beautiful one-bedroom and studio apartments. Residents enjoy 3 delicious home-style meals a day, laundry service, housekeeping service, and encouragement to make themselves cozy in their new home. Epladolin welcomes your family to come and visit their family. Epladolin, independent and assisted living. They make the complicated easy for you. Call today for a tour.
Each year, Springwater Insurance has been teaching those of you on Medicare how will your health and drug plans change for the next year. Now, we can't give you specifics till October 1st, but what I can tell you is your Part D prescription expense will be capped at $2,000 for the year. Now, on October 1st, your current insurance plan will send you a letter explaining these changes. Springwater Insurance will help you find out what your most cost-effective choice for your Medicare health and drug plan for next year. So give us a call for a free consultation.
.57 degrees in the Wenatchee Valley, lower 90s today, mid 90s Saturday, near 100 Sunday. A little cooler for Labor Day, but not much. It's 9 minutes after the hour. A Wenatchee motorist who fled from police back in May and later struck and injured a motorcyclist has pled guilty to those crimes. 37-year-old Stephen Mario Perez entered pleas in Chelan County Court on Wednesday to vehicular assault and eluding police. He now faces sentencing. That'll happen next month. Back on May 11th, Perez failed to stop for Wenatchee police who attempted to pull him over for driving recklessly at high speeds through the city. Later that same day, the Washington State Patrol arrested Perez after he turned his 2000 Honda Accord into the path of a motorcyclist on Highway 2 west of Leavenworth. The motorcyclist was seriously injured. He suffered multiple broken bones and a punctured lung. Perez was intoxicated. At the time, he had 2 prior DUI convictions. Prosecutors will recommend he spend 33 months in prison. The next of kin for a Grant County man has been located more than a week after his death in a rural highway crash. Grant County Sheriff's detectives put out a request this week for the public's help in finding the relatives of 35-year-old Desert Air resident Ventura Estrado Angulu, who died August 21st in a one-car crash on Road 12 Southeast and Road A Southeast. That's near Royal Camp. Angulu was a Mexican national, and the Grant County Sheriff's Office spent the week after his death trying to reach his family in Mexico. They weren't able to do it, so deputies put out a plea to the public on Facebook, and yesterday they said they were finally able to reach the deceased man's next of kin. His body will be returned to his family for a proper farewell. Well, East Wenatchee Police announced that a second cougar has been spotted in East Wenatchee. Assistant Police Chief Eric Hampton told us that the cougar was spotted in the 1400 block of Baker Avenue, reported by a civilian. Nobody was hurt. No efforts were made to hunt or hurt the animal. This reported sighting comes less than 2 weeks after the lethal removal was used on one of 2 cougars that attacked a house cat. That was in the 1000 block of North Colorado Avenue. That was back on August 16th. If you see a cougar, report it to Fish and Wildlife. It's an emergency, of course. You call 911. Well, with federal efforts in progress to reintroduce the grizzly bear to the North Cascades, Chelan County Commissioners will host a series of public meetings next month. The 3 meetings will involve officials from the U.S. Forest Service and the National Parks Service, which are directly involved with the plan to bring 25 bears into the wilderness over a 5 to 10-year period. Also on hand will be Trina Jo Bradley. She's a Montana rancher, and she specializes in animal conflict reduction. The meetings are scheduled for Wenatchee, Chelan, and Leavenworth. They'll be September 17th, 18th, and 19th. Leavenworth's downtown shopping district has essentially been a pedestrian plaza since the pandemic, when the city closed off Front Street to most vehicular traffic. Now that step is becoming a little more permanent. The city is going to install traffic bollards on select downtown streets. Bollards are solid barriers that will replace the orange traffic barricades that have been in place for the last 4 years. The city is exploring possible redesigns of the Front Street area to make it a fully pedestrian corridor. Not all vehicles are prohibited. In the downtown area will remain open to delivery vehicles every day from 6 in the morning till 11 in the morning. If you never knew the difference between a fence lizard and a skink, and I'm one of them, well, there's a new guidebook out on the streets. The Chelan Douglas Land Trust has issued the latest edition of the Wenatchee Area Field Guide. It's a compact and portable showcase for the animal and plant species that populate the Wenatchee Valley. Susan Ballinger oversees the project. She is a Wenatchee naturalist, and she's a fellow at the Land Trust. She says the field guide is a great resource for anybody exploring the outdoors in the valley.
This is a product maybe people see when they go to a national park or go to a nature center in a bigger city. These are all over the country. And it's designed to give people an introduction to the animals and the plants that are common in the place that they are. And I had the great privilege of choosing all the animals and the plants, which was a bigger job than I initially thought. I was able to go to a lot of local experts, an entomologist, a wildlife biologist, and to whittle down the list to only featuring this many insects. That's a very hard thing to do. And our criteria was, what are people going to see in East Wenatchee and Wenatchee, in our valley? So we restricted it to the riverfront, the foothills, just barely up into the conifer trees, because we live in such a diverse area. It was a partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, and they are supporting us by being a place that people can buy a copy by donation. And then the Wenatchee Naturals program, which I am the designer and creator, provided initial funding for the startup. And the goal is, by asking a $10 donation, we want to sell the ones that we have and have just enough money to order the next set. So it's very much a volunteer donation supported program. The Methow Conservancy has one for the Methow Valley, and we modeled ours very closely on theirs. We did have 3 pages of birds, a bias of mine. I really enjoy bird watching. The 2 pages of mammals, but what is maybe more exciting is we were able to introduce people to big groups of common insects. And then my favorite is actually all of our reptiles and amphibians. Yesterday out in the trail, I got to see a little baby fence lizard. So this fall, if people have a field guide, they can pretty much figure out which of our reptiles they might see on the foothills trails. We were able to do a page of trees and shrubs, and with fall colors coming on, you can often use a leaf to identify a shrub, which is nice. And then a lot of our plants, we do have several of these that are fall bloomers. So as you get out in the foothills, we've got some yellow blooming rabbit brushes, and the sagebrush will be blooming soon. And then we did include, of course, our spring and early summer favorites. So hopefully this is designed to make it easier for folks to access information by having it waterproof, stick in your pack. You can beat it up, it's pretty cheap. So it's kind of designed to be used, and how great if you were to wear one of these out. So it's not a special book to keep at home. We have them at the Land Trust office, and we're open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And we also have them at the Chamber of Commerce. Again, as a partner, they are handling the sales for us, and it's a $10 donation. But this might be of interest to somebody that's just curious about who their neighbors are. Who are these plants and animals that are living side by side, all of us?
That sounds like $10 well spent, and that is the news on this Friday. We'll be spitting out one more news before you head on into the holiday weekend. It'll be on television, or as we like to say in the business, TV, at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock, 5, 6, and 10. Right here on the NCW Live channel. If you consume your news via the World Wide Web, you got one of them smart TVs or something like that, we got you covered. Our news will be posted on our homepage, ncwlife.com, our Facebook page, our YouTube page. Try to make it as easy as possible for you to consume the news. That's how you download our app, the QR code right there on your screen. And if something out there is going on and you think we need to know about it so we can tell everybody, we're kind of like that conduit, send us an email, news@ncwlife.com. Mariners did not lose yesterday. They didn't play. They were idle. We'll talk a little baseball and a lot of football. When we come back with sports, you're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Want to stay up to date on the latest news in the area? Tired of paying for your news? Download the NCW Life app now. No subscriptions necessary. Get news, weather, sports, and more live as it happens. Available for iPhone and Android in the App Store. Local news at your fingertips. Don't miss the stories that matter to you. Stay connected. Download the NCW Life app now.
Global Car Care has the best customer service in the Valley. From the moment you walk in the door, their goal is to help you stay on the road, so you can keep doing what's important to you. Global Car Care certified ASE mechanics stand behind your automotive repairs.
At Confluence Health, our mission is clear: to provide exceptional care for our community. We believe in healthcare that's personal and local because we're just like you, members of this great community.
We are Confluence.
Local care by and for our community.
Local care by and for our community.
Local care by and for our community.
We are Confluence.
Most of us are in touch with the internet in one way or another all day long. A fast, secure connection matters. It keeps us entertained, informed, and in touch. Local cares about your connection. We know strong, reliable internet with your choice of speed makes life better. If you need fast, reliable internet, or maybe an upgrade, or you just have questions, connect with us by visiting localtel.com or call 509-888-8888 today.
20 minutes after the hour, the Seattle Mariners begin a 10 games in 10 days road trip. It starts tonight in Anaheim. They'll be taking on the Angels. George Kirby faces Samuel Alderete, who is not only making his major league debut, he'll also be the first Italian-born pitcher in the major leagues since Marino Peretti, who last pitched for Cleveland in 1950. Wow, baseball history tonight. First pitch is at 6:38 and is only available on Apple TV+. To the scoreboard we go from Les Schwab. The Mariners were idle, but the Astros doubled up on the Royals 6-3, so the Mariners trail the Astros by 4 games. In the American League West, Rangers won. The Reds beat the Athletics. The Angels shut out the Tigers 3-0. The Angels are in last place in the American League West. College football. Kikoa Vesperis threw 5 touchdown passes, 3 of those to Efton Chisholm III, and Eastern Washington rolled to a 42-27 season-opening win over Monmouth on the red carpet in Cheney last night. Vesperis completed 25 of 28 pass attempts without an interception. Washington State, they open up in Pullman Saturday at noon. They'll take on Portland State. Remember, 9 years ago, Portland State beat the Cougars in Pullman. So, I don't know. Maybe, by the way, most of the Cougar games this year, including tomorrow's, will be available to watch on CW11. The Huskies have an 8 p.m. kickoff Saturday night on the Big Ten Network. They'll take on Weber State Central Washington. They don't start until Saturday the 7th. A week from tomorrow, they'll be in San Diego. It's prep football season. It's almost here. We're putting together previews of the 3 teams we'll be covering here on the NCW Life Channel. A lot of intrigue surrounds the Eastmont Wildcats, who after 7 seasons under Coach Michael Don now have Jay Foster as their head guy. Foster says all 8 assistant coaches came back this year to continue what Coach Don started.
For me, and I think for the players, it was a fairly easy transition. You know, that was one of the things that I had stressed during the interview process was we've had success here. We've had the best 7-year stretch in school history, and I believed our staff and deserved the opportunity to continue with that. I thought it was going to be easier on the kids, transition-wise. They knew us, they knew the system, and I thought it would be pretty seamless. And, you know, knock on wood, right now it has been. You know, the kids have done a great job.
Eastmont will begin their season, by the way, on the road at Bonnie Lake 1 week from Saturday. It's a Saturday kickoff for them. As far as the Wenatchee Panthers are concerned, they have a new head coach too. Tanner Mitchell is his name. He was an assistant under Scott Devereaux for the last 3 seasons, and he is quite appreciative of the task at hand.
Big shoes to fill for sure. Scott's been an awesome leader in our community and coach for our football program. Before him, Lee Bofto. We haven't had many head coaches here at Wenatchee High School. So obviously big shoes to fill, but he was an awesome teacher and mentor to me, being an assistant coach the last 3 falls, seeing the way he operates and everything that he's done for our program. There's a lot that goes into being a head coach that I think a lot of parents and people in the community don't see. And so seeing everything that he did for our kids, for me personally, super special to follow in his footsteps and be the next head football coach.
Tune in, by the way, next week, next Wednesday for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. You're going to hear more from Coach Mitchell, Coach Foster, and Cashmere coach Brian Bremer here on the NCW Life Channel as we get ready for football and volleyball and girls soccer. It's that time of the year. It's 24 minutes after the hour. It's time for the obscure holiday. Slinky, Slinky, for fun it's a wonderful toy. It's National Slinky Day today. Of course, Slinkies are now plastic, but there's nothing wrong with that. The guy who invented it was Richard T. James. He was in the Navy, and Navy ships had a lot of very sensitive instruments, and he was trying to figure out a way to stabilize these instruments aboard ships in rough seas. And he was playing with a spring, and he knocked the spring off the table, and he noticed that the spring recoiled back onto himself. He said, "That's kind of cool." So he made up some prototypes. He passed them around to the neighborhood kids in Philadelphia where he lived. The kids like it, and so he and his wife Betty went out and got a $500 loan, and they had 400 Slinkies manufactured. This was in the late 40s, and they took them to the Gimbel's department store in Philadelphia, and Gimbel said, "We'll sell them for $1 a piece," and they put them on the shelf, and nobody bought them. And Richard James said, "No, you got to show people what the Slinky is." So he went down to the store and he gathered a bunch of kids and he showed how the Slinky works and how you play with it. And all 400 sold out in a little over an hour, and there they go. The Slinky was an immediate hit. The next year, it was introduced at the American Toy Fair. The story of the Jameses, however, did not end happily. By the late 1950s, sales of the Slinky were in decline, and Richard James moved to Bolivia and joined a religious cult. He left behind his wife, his 6 children, and a nearly bankrupt company. He never saw his wife and kids again, moved to Bolivia. Betty took over as the CEO of the Slinky Company and brought the Slinky Company back up into solvency and eventually made a lot of money herself until she retired. Richard never did move back from Bolivia. National Slinky Day is today. And for fun, it's a wonderful toy. I think everybody had a Slinky when they were a kid. 26 minutes after the hour today in history. If you've ever read the book Endurance, you know all about the amazing story of Ernest Shackleton and his ship, the Endurance. They got frozen in the ice down in Antarctica. Eventually the ice crushed the ship into pieces. The whole crew got off. They went through an amazing ordeal. And on this date in 1916, 108 years ago, Ernest Shackleton completed the rescue of all of his men who were stranded on Elephant Island in Antarctica. When they left Elephant Island in a little bitty life raft to try and find help, they didn't know if they were ever going to come back again. These guys thought they were just going to be marooned there until they died. But that's an actual photo of them returning. They were all rescued. If you've never read the book, you should absolutely read it. It's one of the best real-life adventure stories and survival stories ever. And it all came to an end 108 years ago today. Everybody survived. Happy 61st birthday to what's known as the Hotline. The Moscow, Washington Hotline opened on this date in 1963. The Cold War was pretty darn cold. The Cuban Missile Crisis, and the Soviets and the Americans said, we have to figure out a way where we could directly reach the leaders of each country in an emergency. At the Pentagon, that's the original machine, by the way. At the Pentagon, the hotline system is located at the National Military Command Center. It's called the MOLINK for Moscow Link. The teams work in 8-hour shifts. A non-commissioned officer actually looks after the equipment. A commissioned officer who is fluent in Russian and knows what the hell's going on was the translator. Messages received in Washington on the hotline automatically carry the highest security classification, which is eyes only, the president. The first official use of the hotline by the United States was when JFK was assassinated. On November 22nd, 1963, the first time the Soviet Union used it was in June of 1967 when the Six-Day War broke out. And you've seen it all in books and movies and TV shows and video games. The hotline between Washington, D.C. and Moscow was a red telephone. It's not a red telephone. It never was, as a matter of fact, but it looked something like that back in 1963. And 57 years ago today, Thurgood Marshall is confirmed as the first African-American justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. It was not a particularly fun vetting process, but he got through it. That was 57 years ago, and since that time, we've had 2 more, and that's it. That was on this date in 1967. Birthdays. I checked this morning. According to Forbes magazine, he is the 6th wealthiest person in the world. And it all started when he bought a couple of shares in a textile company in Omaha called Berkshire Hathaway back in 1962. And his philosophy is simple. Buy stocks when they're down and don't sell them. Warren Buffett, the chairman and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, is 94 years old today. He's been spending most of his free time giving away his money. He's pledged to give away 99% of his fortune, which is $135 billion, the last I checked. Cameron Diaz is 52 years old today. She has a few awards on her shelf, not just a pretty face, good actress too. Happy 52nd to Cameron Diaz. And with all due respect to Marshawn Lynch, who is probably the crowd's favorite, I would have to say Shaun Alexander is probably the best running back that the Seahawks ever had. Yeah, we had Kurt Warner and certainly Marshawn Lynch and others, but Shaun Alexander still holds 10 Seahawks rushing records. He was the MVP of the NFL in 2005, and the Seahawks went to the Super Bowl. Shaun Alexander is the father of 12. That's impressive, and he's 47 years old today. How's your air conditioner holding up? Back in July, I think my air conditioner was on nonstop, 24 hours a day for like 3 weeks. It's still running. And if yours is not doing so good after this long, hot summer, and it's going to be hot, hot, hot all through the next 10 days or so, give Alpine Air a call for heat and air. Call Alpine Air. My favorite Mike Mignotti opinion is coming up. It's about food. Mike likes food. And then we're going to show you a video that I think you're going to find absolutely fascinating and certainly educational. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but our good friend Matt Wisen, who is a biologist with the local office of the Washington State Department of Transportation, is going to introduce a 9-minute video that you're going to like and find very informative. That's coming up. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
What once was old now is new to the NCW Life channel. Tune in for Bonanza, Superman, The Andy Griffith Show, The Beverly Hillbillies, The Invisible Man, The Lone Ranger, and The Lucy Show. Check your program guide for classic programming on NCW Life channel, your local TV station.
When you buy tires at Les Schwab, you're getting more than just tires. You're getting America's best tire warranty, 60-day satisfaction guarantee, no hassle road hazard protection, and free maintenance for the life of your tires. So if something happens to your tire on the road, we'll fix it, or we'll replace it, no questions asked. Other places make you pay extra for that kind of protection, but at Les Schwab, it's included with every set of tires, because more warranty means less worry, and nobody stands by their tires like Les Schwab. Get more from Les.
Campfire North Central Washington, serving youth ages 3 to 18. Register today in one of Campfire's programs. Club members meet regularly with volunteer leaders to learn responsibility, sharing, cooperation, and citizenship. When a child is involved in Campfire, they will be actively learning and engaged in activities, encouraged to learn new skills, feel a part of the group, learn to work in a team setting, participate in planning, goal setting, and making lasting memories.
Lifeline Ambulance has partnered with Wenatchee Valley Tech to provide EMT certification training within the high school. This opens up career opportunities in EMS, fire, and other medical fields, and gives these students a leg up when entering the workforce.
Students at Wenatchee Valley Tech, through our partnership with Lifeline Ambulance, can now earn their National Registry EMT certification.
Tiki Hawaiian Barbecue, family owned and operated on North Wenatchee Avenue, right next to Hooked on Toys. Tiki Hawaiian Barbecue uses only fresh ingredients, handcrafted with love, including authentic Hawaiian barbecue and Japanese-style ramen noodle soups. And the bubble teas will keep you coming back for more. Enjoy the culinary tour of the Pacific Rim with Hawaiian barbecue lunches and combo plate classics, as well as ramen noodle soups. Tiki Hawaiian Barbecue. Enjoy their comfort food like you're one of the family.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Mignotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, pizza, what a great food. Everybody, kids, old people, even liberals love pizza. I mean, succulent dough, rich spicy spaghetti gravy covered with mozzarella cheese. What could be better? But I got news for you. You don't put fruit on pizza. If you put pineapple on your food, call it a fruit cup a la mode, call it pineapple pie, call it any doggone friggin' you want to, but don't call it pizza. I mean, you don't just put tomato soup and American cheese on a piece of white bread and call it a taco, do you? No. So don't be an idiot. If it's got pineapple on it, it ain't pizza. Okay, that's settled. This is Mike Mad Dog Mignotti, and that's not just my opinion, that's a fact.
I'm Jen Mueller. Watch for my show, I Cook, You Measure on NCW Life. It's part cooking instruction, part entertainment, and all about connecting over food and wine with your favorite Northwest athletes.
Watch I Cook, You Measure with Jen Mueller Mondays at 1, Wednesdays at 2, Fridays at 11 a.m., and Saturday and Sundays at 10:30 p.m. right here on the NCW Life channel.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether,
we provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
Now there are even more reasons to meet at the Pybus Market. Outdoor dining and tastings, the fabulous Farmers Market, Saturday artisans on the concourse, and your favorites all week long. No matter the reason, it's always time to meet at the Pybus Market. Pybus Market, where community meets. At Kennedy Group, we understand that buying and selling is more than a transaction, and it's more than just a house. This is where you will gather with friends and family, and where a lifetime of memories will be made. But buying a home is more than memories. Oftentimes, it's your biggest financial decision. The agents at Kennedy Group understand this and provide real estate advice based on your goals and dreams. Call us today and let's find your happy place.
Welcome back to the program. In July of 2023, we took our cameras up US 97A, not too far from Rocky Ridge Dam, and we did a little interview with Glenn Calise from the Washington State Department of Transportation. He's a habitat connectivity biologist, and our good buddy Matt Wisen, who's a biologist with the Washington State Department of Transportation. Matt, we had a great, fascinating conversation, and we talked about deer or wildlife in particular, just any kind of wildlife, versus car collisions, and what the DOT is doing to address that. It was a great conversation. So far, it's been a pretty good success story, and now we're here to do a little follow-up because we have a little 9-minute video we're going to show.
Yeah, good to see you again. We're coming into that season. Actually, we're in that season right now. We're watching wildlife collisions on 97A between Wenatchee and Chelan, primarily the little 10-mile segment or so between Wenatchee and Entiat are hotspots, and the collision rates increase, unfortunately, in late August, September, October, and coming into Labor Day weekend, lots of traffic, and people aren't necessarily thinking about hazards on the road there in the last couple of miles of their trip. They're thinking about maybe cracking a cold one and getting their feet in the lake, and not what could jump out in front of me. So it's good timing for the show, and unfortunately for the wildlife also. Not such good timing.
And it's not just deer; it's bighorn sheep, and other and skunks and anything. You know.
Yeah. The film, that we're going to see shortly, it highlights all kinds of wildlife, and unfortunately, when highways were put in, no one really thought about habitat connectivity, about what the range of these wildlife are, what their needs are, where they migrate to, even on a daily basis. Maybe.
Wild animals are going to move. They're going to move to find food. They're going to move to mate. They're going to move to get water. They're almost constantly on the move.
Constantly on the move. And we just, when I say we, whoever put the roads in a long time ago, didn't think about that. They just drew a line from point A to point B and said, let's go. And not only did that separate some humans in the past, it also separates or makes it difficult for the movement of wildlife. And a lot of times those wildlife don't understand crossing the road safely. And and get hit. And
yeah, they don't have those little orange flags they can hold up and cross the highway.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
And it's a huge safety issue. I mean, there's public injuries, there's fatalities, there's property damage, in the millions, if not billions of dollars worth of cost to society. And that's why a big driver for why DOT is doing this, and not just in Washington State, but across the nation. It's a huge issue. And so, as a lot of people have seen up on 990, the new overpass that is put in there, it's been up there a couple of years, that's been wildly successful. Thousands of animals use that thing, from deer, coyotes, skunks, or whatever. Bigfoot, yeah. Whatever needs to cross the road there safely, they're now getting across. And actually, what the traveling public doesn't also see is there's also an underpass right next to it too, and you can go over or under, and it's worked very well.
The film is called Wild Ways While Keeping Washington's Habitat Connected Matters. It was put together by the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife and the Conservation Northwest Group, two really cool groups working together, private entity, governmental entity working together to make this work. So we're going to show you the film. It's very good. It's about 9.5, 10 minutes. And then we'll come back and we'll wrap it up with Matt Wisen. So here's the film.
Historically, animals were able to move through the ecosystems all across the state much more easily than they are today.
You could have cougars that could very easily crisscross the entire state in a matter of weeks.
There are amphibians that just migrate a couple hundred yards.
Elk move throughout the year. In the wintertime, they come to our lowland forested areas where they can access food a little bit more easily. And then during the summer, they need to be able to move up high.
Even small species such as fritillary butterflies and other types of pollinators migrate across the landscape.
There are very few species that don't migrate or move in some capacity.
Humans came in and we just drew lines. We drew lines with roads, we drew lines with railroad tracks, we drew lines with dams in the water and fences. And so that makes it difficult for animals to move across the landscape.
Habitat connectivity is the degree to which the landscape allows ecological flows, like animal movement. It's essentially the opposite of habitat fragmentation. Everywhere developments exist, anywhere we have populations of people, anywhere we have roads, there's definitely habitat fragmentation.
Wildlife connectivity is just like human connectivity. People need the ability to go to stores and school, to move when things get too cold or too hot, and animals need the exact same.
Changing the movements of wildlife is a very big deal. We have more negative interactions with humans and wildlife, and it affects their ability to survive.
Pronghorn are commonly known to make very long-distance migrations. As they're reintroduced, there are going to be major challenges with habitat connectivity for that specific species. Even something like a small fence that any person could step over may be a complete barrier to their movements.
Western toads are a really interesting and important native amphibian that also needs connectivity. The toads lay their eggs and produce tadpoles in our small wetland and stream environments, and then as they grow up into adult toads, move up into the uplands. And so we have adult toads and toadlets trying to cross the roadways and unfortunately being run over by cars or people who don't realize that those toads are trying to make a great migration.
Too much light in some places can fragment habitat, too much noise. A barn built on a riverside. Some of the bigger barriers are cities and development, interstates, highways, traffic. If we want to see viable wildlife populations have healthy ecosystems, then we need to absolutely focus on and work on habitat connectivity in the state of Washington.
My name's Jason Fedora. I'm with the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, and I'm the wildlife biologist for Benton and Franklin counties. Standing in Franklin County at one of the irrigation canals. We've got hundreds of miles of these across the eastern Washington irrigated landscape. So the design of these is really good for transporting water, but really difficult for animals to cross or get out of. Once inside the canal, deer and elk and hoofed animals find it really difficult to escape. Animals often get drawn into canals just by trying to follow natural migratory corridors. Oftentimes, if we're able to get an animal out, we find that the hooves have been worn down from trying to climb up the concrete sides, that the hooves have been worn down to the bone. And often euthanization is the only humane option at that point.
We need to find a way to coexist together so that wildlife can move freely once again through the landscape.
I feel like Washington State has some of the best minds working on habitat connectivity issues, and we know what to do, and we know where to do it, we know how to do it.
Reducing fragmentation and creating a connected landscape for wildlife will require changes, but not giant changes.
Tried and true method of solving habitat fragmentation that's caused by roads is building wildlife crossing structures. And you may have seen one on Interstate 90 just east of Snoqualmie Pass. We're seeing new species show up like moose. We recently had a moose cross from north to south at an underpass called Resort Creek within the Snoqualmie Pass East project area. That one probably came out of the North Cascades, and we do know there's habitat south of I-90 that could support moose. I just think maybe they've never been able to reach it before wildlife crossings were built on I-90.
There are things that irrigation distribution systems can do to make things better for fish and wildlife and better for the farms at the same time. So as the Kittitas Reclamation District enters its aggressive water conservation program, we always take into consideration animal safety so we can get them out. We actually install animal escape ramps specifically designed for getting animals out of a canal system where they can get their footing, they can walk up and they can just jump over that and then off they go.
The area of US 97 between approximately Riverside and Tonasket is, no matter how you slice it, the top 3 worst deer vehicle collision areas in the state. It's also an important ecological area. There's been a lot of work, primarily by Conservation Northwest over the years, to find the money to upgrade that corridor, to install 1 mile of fencing south of Janus Bridge over the Okanagan River. We saw essentially a 91% drop in collisions in that fence section as well.
We can all make a difference in wildlife connectivity. So if you bring in citizens and local landowners, you can come up with solutions.
Reach out to a habitat biologist at the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, whose job it is to provide technical assistance and advice on how the public can design and improve their land. It can be as simple as a small connected patch of flowers or native plants in a person's yard or in their neighborhood. Urban planners, especially for cities and counties and at the state level, are some of the most important people for making sure that we have wildlife connectivity into the future.
I think the real way to know that we've achieved our goal is that our planning processes include wildlife connectivity at the very beginning.
This is a massive issue that has the potential to affect practically every species in the state.
We can't not afford to do wildlife connectivity projects. Think about the impact it would have if we lost our elk and our deer.
Washington has such an amazing array of wildlife and ecosystems and habitats. It's what makes living here so special. To keep it that way, we need healthy and connected habitats.
So there's the film. You can download it or watch it on YouTube, by the way. Again, Wild Ways While Keeping Washington's Habitat Connected matters. Fish and Wildlife, your department, DOT, Conservation Northwest, a lot of public and private entities working together on this. What's the next step forward? We know this has been a success story. We know it works. What's next for you folks? What's the follow-up on this?
Well, this group is finishing up a called Washington Habitat Connectivity Action Plan. Looking at the state, the migration corridors, the accident levels, kind of a heat map, across the state, where the hot spots are, what the cost to society is, what the cost to these individual species as well as the population of the species, and prioritizing them and setting us up for ultimately competitiveness for national grants and taking advantage of some of that national funding that's available. One of the areas, if not the largest area of priority in that action plan, is going to be this little section north of Tenasket, Janus Bridge area. There's about a 9-10 mile segment up there that is consistently the #1 collision area in the state, costing a ton of money, ton of delays to traffic, to freight, and risking human lives as well. And so there's all kinds of crossings, and I think there's 9 or 10 crossings outlined in that priority that we're trying to get funding for, along with fencing to go along with it. This group, or the state, partnered with lots of people to do a mile of fencing there just south of the Janus Bridge, encourage the wildlife to go under that bridge. I think we talked about that last year. Mm-hmm. and that's continued to be wildly successful. Hundreds and thousands of critters use that crossing every year. It's eliminated the crossing at grade across the highway, and that's been fantastic. And we've been able to demonstrate to the people with the money that it's beneficial.
And it probably helps expedite getting the money when you can say, hey, this works.
Yeah,
we got proof of it.
Proof of it, definitely. Yeah. And getting support. Yeah. I mean, it does take some of an effort and some give and take by the locals up there. I mean, having fencing on their properties or right next to it can be conceived as a burden to some population, to some people, and getting their buy off and seeing the advantage of that.
Yeah, but most of the private landowners, they understand. They get it.
They get it.
Yep. Matt Wisen, a senior biologist for the Washington State Department of Transportation. What that means, we don't know. It's good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, it is. It's been a while.
Yeah, let's watch. Let's do a little Premier League watch party one of these Sunday mornings.
Love it.
Good.
Love it.
Go Liverpool.
Oh, maybe not. Hey.
I'm not cheering for Manchester City. I can tell you that much, buddy.
West Ham or Tottenham, or West Ham or Newcastle. Sorry about that.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Caught in a conflict? Family? Workplace? Neighbor? Business? Housing disputes? Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center provides mediation services. a cost-effective and efficient way to provide a written resolution to disputes and issues. Plus, we offer mediation training and community education on conflict resolution and communication skills. Contact us to learn more.
The Lake Chelan Chamber of Commerce presents Wonders of Wooden Avenue.
As Chelan's premier lifestyle store, Willow, find unique home decor, clothing, jewelry, and more. Come visit for a welcoming and memorable shopping experience.
Lake Chelan Sports is the place to find top brands like Hoka, Ons, Patagonia, and now a full line of Warrior products. With excellent customer service, Lake Chelan Sports has what you need.
Wonders of Wooden Avenue, North Central Washington's premier shopping district.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
It's that time of year to get the springtime toys ready. Doghouse Motorsports has everything you need to get the show on the road or the trail. If a new machine is in the plan, Doghouse now has a complete inventory from which to choose. So get ready to ride. When you've been in business for 40 years, it's because you understand change and you put members first, always. Now Works is announcing a change in their membership model. Up to 6 people on one membership that you can mix and match. The more people, the bigger the discounts. Introducing the Works Shared Membership Model. One membership, friends and family, and flexibility. Works, the cleanest, friendliest, most helpful gyms you and your friends will ever join.
Labor Day weekend is almost upon us. Quick little shop talk. If you don't mind, friendly reminder, no Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. On Monday, we get a 3-day weekend, which for us is pretty rare. Who's kidding who? So we'll have some special programming. We'll be rerunning some of your favorite programs, but no Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on Monday and no NCW Life Evening News on Monday as well. Government offices closed, no schools, no mail, no link, no banks. Just a nice, quiet, peaceful 3-day weekend to wrap up the summer. And if you're going to be out and about, you're going to want to find some shade or some cool water, or perhaps a combination of both, because it is going to be hot. We have a heat advisory. It begins at 11 o'clock Saturday morning, tomorrow morning, until 9 on Sunday night, and it's still going to be pretty hot on Labor Day. They may extend that into Monday, so a moderate heat risk for those people in the area that you see in orange. If you're in red, and by golly, that is us, it's a major heat risk. So get ready for some really hot temperatures. One more blast of this stuff, and it looks like it could last for a while. The Climate Prediction Center updated their 6 to 10 day outlook. This is taking us through all the way through September 8th. And as you can see, as you look at the temperature outlook on the left side of your screen, we have about a 100% chance of seeing temperatures above normal. Keep in mind our normal high this time of the year is about 83 or 84. We're going to be well above that all the way through the weekend and for the most part next week, and it looks like it's going to be drier than normal as well. So get ready for one more blast of summer, or it could even be longer than that. We know we still have, 20 days of summer still to get to before the autumnal equinox. So from the National Weather Service, here's what your weekend is looking like. Sunshine today, high of 92. That's borderline hot. 61 for the overnight low. I think we can safely say 96 tomorrow is just plain hot. 67 for the overnight low. Hottest day, 99 on Sunday. Been a while since we got up to 99, even though it's been a very warm August for the most part. 99 our high on Sunday. 71 for the overnight low on Sunday night. The heat advisory expires at 9 o'clock Sunday night. They may go ahead and extend that all the way through Monday, because we're going to be at 94 degrees. Tuesday, slightly cooler, with a high of 90 as the ridge of high pressure is going to start moving around a little bit. And then another ridge of high pressure reestablishes itself Thursday of next week. So it's going to be hot. Yes, I'm still 60, and you're still watching. We'll see you Tuesday. Bye-bye.